If you've tried learning Houdini and felt like you haven't made any progress, there's probably an exact reason for that. In this video, I'll explain something that took me way too long to figure out and something that might just save you years off your Houdini journey. So who am I and why should you listen to me? My name is Will. I'm a professional 3D artist, which means in some sense I get paid to be creative. I spent the last 8 years working in 3D and the last 4 years doing so with Houdini. I've worked with some big name brands and top-notch creative teams, so although I'm not the best Houdini artist there is, I do know a bit about how to apply Houdini to my creative ideas and how to bring those ideas to life. In this video, I'll explain the difference between open loop learning and closed loop learning, why you might want to choose one over the other, and why you might be stuck in the wrong loop. This video is specifically for artists who want to apply Houdini to bring their own creative ideas to life. And although it extends to other areas of creativity in general, my hope is that you, watching this video, are a digital artist who's either using, learning, or considering Houdini as a software of choice. So let's get started with our video and why you might be in the wrong side of this learning loop. To get started, we'll define our goal and state why we are here. We, you and me, both watching this video now, want to use Houdini. And we want to use Houdini to bring our creative ideas to life. That's it. That's our goal. And yes, I'm talking directly to you watching this now. You might be trying to accomplish that goal right now or have spent years learning Houdini trying to get closer to that goal. But to see how you might be learning and how you might be wasting time, let's take a step back and let's think first about a slightly different but similar goal. For the purpose of the next few minutes, let's imagine our goal is instead the goal of using painting to bring our creative ideas to life. To get started learning painting, there's 2 ways we can learn. The first, we can go to the art store to buy some supplies. We'll get some paint, brushes, and a few canvases. Then, we'll go to the library to check out some books. We'll get books on painting history, the types of paintbrushes, the greatest artists, and then one on fine painting versus abstract painting. Then we'll start learning. We'll compare acrylic paint to oil painting, why we'd use watercolors versus oil paints, and why painting on wood is different than painting on a canvas. We'll study the mixing of paints and how mixing different paint colors can help create the endless spectrum of colors we'll need to use. We'll study brush painting versus palette knife painting, and when to use a slanted tip brush versus a flat tip brush. And then, with all our knowledge we just absorbed, we'd sign up for a 12-week painting workshop, where we learn how to paint museum-quality impressionistic landscapes with acrylic paints, the 12-week masterclass workshop. And then we'd go week by week through the workshop, and at the end of the 12 weeks, we'd have our first and final landscape painting. But remember, this one is museum quality. And then at the end of our 12 weeks, we'd ask ourselves, do we feel more confident using painting to bring our creative ideas to life? Would you feel more confident using painting to bring your creative ideas to life? This type of learning is an open loop, where during the iteration of the loop, we continue to add more knowledge and more information to our learning before we complete a single loop. But let's imagine we had our same goal of painting to bring our creative ideas to life, but this time we decided to approach learning it a different way. We'll still go to the art store, we'll buy some paint and canvas, but this time that's all we'll buy. We'll take a trip to the countryside, set up our canvas, dip our fingers in the paint, and then drag them across the canvas and start trying to recreate our country landscape with the paint we bought. Once we finished our painting, we'd look at the canvas and then learn that our fingers didn't quite let us get the detail of the trees and the grass. So maybe next time we try to paint, we'll use a brush to start painting the trees and the grass blades. That way we can get the detail we want. Then, once we finished our painting again, we'd look at the painting and then learn that the colors of the green for the grass might be a bit too green. So we'll learn about color mixing and start to mix a new shade of green that has some brown and yellow in it. That way our grass can look like the wheat fields of our countryside. And then we'd paint again. This time we'd try to paint the clouds and then learn that to get the puffy clouds, we could use a bigger brush. And to get the detailed houses way in the background of the painting, we could use a small knife brush or even a toothpick to scrape in some extra detail. Each painting we finish and each time we complete an attempt at our goal of painting the countryside, we complete our loop in learning. And each time we complete the loop, we've added a new technique that lets us fix a problem we ran into the last time we tried to paint our countryside. And then for the next 12 weeks, instead of signing up for the museum quality impressionistic landscapes with acrylic paints 12-week masterclass workshop, we stay here, we sit down, stay in the countryside and just paint. We paint, we improve, we learn, and we try again and again to bring the countryside to life on our canvas. And then at the end of these 12 weeks, we ask ourselves, do we feel more confident in using painting to bring our ideas to life? Now, these two approaches are what we will call open loop learning and closed loop learning. Open loop learning, we add more information before we complete a single loop. In closed loop learning, we only add information once we complete a loop and once we need to fix an issue from the last iteration of the loop. Neither of these two approaches are wrong, but they do affect how we achieve our goal. If we want to become a museum curator who's an expert in painting impressionistic landscapes with acrylic paint, then a fancy 12-week museum quality workshop might be the best way to go. But if we want to become an artist, one who takes the ideas in our head and puts them onto the canvas, then maybe the countryside is where we should be. Now I ask you this, if your goal of learning to paint is to bring your creative ideas to life, which way would you choose to learn? The 12-week masterclass workshop studying museum quality impressionistic landscapes with acrylic paints, or by picking up your paint, getting a canvas, and heading to the countryside to start painting? In the same way, if your goal of learning Houdini is to bring your own creative ideas to life, which way are you choosing to learn? The Hollywood quality VFX advanced professional explosion action movie guaranteed 12-week masterclass workshop? Or are you actually taking your ideas, the ideas you want to make, and putting them into practice? I wasted years trying to learn everything there is to learn about Houdini, and it took me 2 years to even start my own project. So I challenge you to start your own project idea today. So if you watching this video now call yourself an artist, then where is your art? Houdini's your canvas, and I dare you to start.